Hi everybody. Following the implications of Piaget's cognitive development theory and Erikson's psychosocial theory towards counseling, it is equally important to know the concept and assertions of the two developmental theories, namely Havighurst developmental task theory and Blocher's developmental counseling. These theories are based on the stages of lifespan and hence gives a developmental perspective to the process of counseling. The module will be explained in the form of 3 videos. The content of the first 2 videos will be on Havighurst developmental task theory. That will explain the concept, purpose and components in the first video, and the developmental task and the counseling implications in the second video. And the third video will be exclusively on Blocher's developmental counseling. At the end of this video, you will be able to understand the concept, purpose, and the key components of Havighurst developmental task theory. Robert Havighurst introduced a powerful theory of human development. The central theme of his theory is developmental task. Though many other theories have asserted theories on developmental task, Havighurst's work is more detailed and systematic. The theory is known as Havighurst developmental task theory. It is the first theory to acknowledge that human development is a continuous process from birth to death, containing many facets of human activities presented as developmental task. Developmental tasks are nothing but the challenges that human faces, which determine the regular pattern in development and its outcome. Now let us look into the definition of the term developmental task. A developmental task is a task which arises at or about a certain period of time in the life of an individual. Achievement of that task will lead to his happiness and success with later task, while failure leads to unhappiness in the individual, disapproval by society, and difficulty with later task. Havighurst further claimed that nature lays down wide responsibilities in the developing of the human body and the possibilities that shall be realized, and it depends on what the individual learns. This is true even of such crude biological realities as feeding habits and sexual relations, while the more highly social realities of language, economic behavior, and religion are almost completely the product of learning at the hands of the society. Humans proceed from one stage to another through successful accomplishment of required developmental tasks particular to each stage. These tasks may be related to physical, biological, cognitive, social, or emotional maturity. Some of the characteristics of developmental tasks are similar for people belonging to the same culture, such as personal relationship in adulthood, while some others are universal, such as puberty in adolescence. What are the purposes of developmental tasks? Developmental tasks serve 3 purposes. First purpose is that they serve as guidelines for the individual to understand society's expectations for him or her at a given stage. Second is that they try to motivate the individuals to do what society expects of them at certain ages during their lives. The third major purpose is that they show the individual what lies ahead and what they will be expected to do when they reach their next stage of development. According to Havighurst theory, successful completion of the task by an individual earns society's commendation and self-satisfaction. This in turn builds confidence and better coping skills in handling further challenges. On the contrary, if the individual is not able to complete the task, do not expect approval from society and develop low confidence. This in turn contributes to poor coping skills and difficulty in handling further challenges. Now let us look into the components of Havighurst developmental task theory. Havighurst developmental task theory consists of 2 major components. The first is the sources of developmental task, which is otherwise called as the Biopsychosocial model of development. And the second is about the 6 stages of life That is what we call it as Havighurst developmental stages. Now let us see about the biopsychosocial model of development. Havighurst used the biopsychosocial model to explain the sources that impact the task of each stage. The three major sources are biological contribution, psychological contribution, and societal contribution. Individuals' heredity and maturation of physiology is what we call it as biological contribution. The personal values, aspirations, and motivations encompass psychological contribution, and the cultural pressures of the society to which he or she belongs becomes the societal contribution. The biological contribution that gives rise to developmental task is genetic and biological maturation. These are same for the people of any culture. For example, skills like walking, talking, control over body, and learning have contributions from genes and typical maturation process. The acquiring of these skills involves the same mechanics. And about psychological contribution. The psychological contribution that gives rise to developmental task is developing the personality of a person that involves characteristics like moods, attitudes, opinion, belief, aspirations, and acquired behaviors. For example, developing the concept of self, relationship patterns, coping skills are some of the developmental tasks influenced by the psychological makeup of a person. And how does society contribute? Societal influences giving rise to developmental tasks differ from culture to culture. A typical standard found in society may not be found in another society or similar for other societies and not for others. For example, developmental tasks like marriage, parenting, civic responsibilities, and stereotyping genders are different between Western culture and Eastern culture. Most of the time, all the three sources that has been told to you combine and contribute to the rise of the developmental task. And now let us look into the Havighurst developmental stages, the second component. Havighurst has categorized 6 stages with a list of crucial developmental tasks for each stage that is universal to mankind. Those 6 stages are given to you. First stage is infancy and early childhood. That covers up to 0 to 5 years. The second stage is middle childhood, starting from 6th year and extends up to 12th year. Third stage is adolescence, starting from the 13th year of an individual and goes up to 17th year. And then the fourth is early adulthood, starting at about 18 years and it goes up to 35 years. And then the middle age from 36 to 60 years. And then the maturity from 60 years and beyond. Hope you learned the purpose and key components of Havighurst developmental theory. The next video will be on the developmental task to be accomplished in the above said 6 stages. Thank you.